A millionaire's Christmas was always cold, until his daughter's tutor warmed it with an unexpected invitation. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. The Christmas tree in Adrian Hale's penthouse had been standing in the corner for 3 weeks untouched. Not a single ornament hung from its branches. It was nothing more than a tall, silent reminder of a season he no longer knew how to celebrate. Outside, the city glittered with festive lights, but inside his home the air felt heavy and still almost frozen. Adrian stood near the window with a glass of water in his hand, staring down at the snow-covered streets far below. People hurried past each other, wrapped in scarves and laughter, carrying bags of gifts and fresh-cut wreaths. He watched them the way a man might watch a world that did not belong to him anymore. He had everything a person could measure on paper, yet somehow nothing that made Christmas feel warm. A soft sound echoed behind him. "Dad," he turned. His daughter Lily stood at the edge of the living room, carpet small and hesitant, holding something behind her back. Her dark hair fell around her face, and her eyes carried the same quiet sadness he saw in the mirror almost every morning. "Yes, sweetheart," Adrian asked gently. She took a step closer. "Are you going to be home for Christmas this year?" The question cut deeper than she could ever understand. Even at 8 years old, Lily had learned to ask it softly, as if hoping the gentleness would make the answer hurt less. Adrian opened his mouth, but the right words stalled. Every Christmas since his wife passed had slipped by in the same way, quiet, distant, empty. A calendar date he avoided by burying himself in work. Lily lowered her eyes, and for a moment she looked so much like her mother that Adrian felt his chest tighten. She lifted a small, handmade card from behind her back. "I made this," she whispered. "Just in case." Adrian reached out and took the card carefully. It was made of red construction paper covered in tiny silver stars. Inside, in her careful handwriting, Lily had written, "I hope Christmas feels different this year." His throat tightened. He looked at his daughter, wanting to say something reassuring, something warm, something that did not feel like a lie. But grief had carved silence into him. Before he could find the words, the front door opened softly, and footsteps approached. Emma Carter, Lily's tutor, appeared wearing her usual winter coat and scarf, carrying a canvas bag full of art supplies. The moment she saw the tension in the room, her expression softened. "Hi, Lily," Emma said with a warm smile. "Ready for our lesson?" Lily nodded, but moved closer to her father as if seeking an answer he still could not give. Emma looked at Adrian, her voice gentle but steady. "Good evening, Mr. Hale." He offered a polite nod. "Good evening, Emma. Thank you for coming today." She stepped into the light and something shifted in the room. Emma always brought a sense of quiet warmth with her, the kind that made children feel safe and made empty spaces feel less cold. Her presence softened the air, easing what Adrian could not. Lily tugged the sleeve of Emma's coat. "We were just talking about Christmas." Emma knelt down, her smile soft. "Christmas is special when we share it with someone, right?" Lily nodded, then whispered, "I want my dad to come to my school's Christmas night." Emma looked up at Adrian, her eyes calm, understanding something he had not said out loud. "It would mean a lot to her," she said softly. Her words were simple, but in them was a kind of kindness he had not felt in years, a warmth that slipped past the armor he had worn for so long. And for the first time in many winters, Adrian Hale felt something inside him begin to thaw. The door closed softly behind Emma and Lily as they walked toward the study room, leaving Adrian alone with the handmade card still open in his hand. The edges were uneven, the stars glued on slightly crooked, and yet it felt heavier than anything he had signed in his corporate office. He set it carefully on the table, and followed the faint sound of Lily's laughter down the hall, a sound he heard less often than he wished. In the study room, Emma had already spread art supplies across the small table. Paper in winter colors, colored pencils, glitter glue, and a tiny jar of silver stars that Lily loved to sprinkle on everything. The warm desk lamp cast a soft glow over both of them, painting the space with the kind of coziness Adrian's home rarely held. Lily looked up when she saw her father appear at the doorway. Her eyes brightened instantly. "Dad, we are making Christmas invitations for the class party." Do you want to see? Adrian felt the automatic response rise in his throat, the polite distance he had practiced for years. But then Emma glanced at him, her expression gentle yet encouraging, as if reminding him that this tiny moment mattered more than he realized. He stepped inside. "I would like that," he said quietly. Lily beamed and held up a half-finished card. It showed two stick figures holding hands under a Christmas tree. Emma leaned closer and whispered with a smile, "She drew this one, thinking of you." Adrian's breath caught for a second. He looked at Lily again, noticing the careful effort in every line she had drawn. The small details, the tiny star she had placed at the very top of the tree. "You did a wonderful job," he said, and this time the words felt real, not rehearsed. Lily grinned proudly and returned to coloring. Emma continued organizing the supplies, moving with a quiet grace, always aware of Lily's needs without overwhelming her. Adrian watched the two of them for a moment, struck by how natural everything looked, how full of warmth the room suddenly felt. Emma finally broke the silence. "Lily told me she wants to invite you to her school's holiday night," she said softly. "It would mean the world to her." Adrian shifted his weight, unsure of how to respond. "I have not been to a school event in a long time." Emma nodded, not pressuring him, only understanding. "Grief does that," she said gently. "It makes people step away from things they once loved. But Lily is growing, and she is hoping you might step back in. Even just a little." Her voice held no judgment, only compassion. The words settled in his chest, warm and painful at the same time. Before he could speak, Lily tugged his sleeve. "Dad, look at this one." She held up a new drawing, 3 figures now. Herself, her father, and Emma standing beneath a tree covered in stars. Emma froze, slightly embarrassed, but Lily continued happily. "This is all of us at the Christmas night. I want us to go together." Adrian felt something inside him shift, just a small movement, but enough to notice. Enough to recognize that his daughter was asking not just for his presence, but for his heart to return. Emma cleared her throat softly. "We can finish these and clean up soon," she said, giving him space. Adrian looked at the drawing in Lily's hand. He looked at Emma, whose calm warmth filled the room like a steady flame. And for the first time in years, he wondered what it would feel like to try again, not perfectly, not all at once, but one small moment at a time. "Maybe," he said quietly, "I could attend the school night." Lily gasped in delight, and Emma smiled in a way that made the entire room feel brighter. Adrian did not know that this tiny promise, just a small step, would become the beginning of everything that would soon unfold for him, for Lily, and for the woman who had unknowingly begun to warm the coldest winter of his life. The next morning arrived quietly inside the Hale penthouse, with soft winter lights seeping through the wide glass windows. Adrian moved through the kitchen in measured steps, pouring coffee into a mug, while the silence lingered around him. It was different from the silence he usually lived in. This one carried the faint echo of Lily's excitement from the night before and the warmth of Emma's steady smile. It felt almost unfamiliar, as if someone had nudged open a window in a long-abandoned room. He heard small footsteps pattering down the hallway. Lily appeared still in her pajamas, holding the stack of invitations she and Emma had made. Glitter sparkled along the edges, catching the morning light. "Dad," she said with a shy smile, "can you come with me to school today? We need to give these to my teacher." Adrian hesitated for only a moment before nodding. "All right, I can make time." Lily's grin widened, and she ran off to get dressed, leaving him alone again. He stared at the half-open door she had disappeared into, surprised by how natural it had felt to say yes. Later that afternoon, Emma met them in the school courtyard. She was holding a box of supplies, her red scarf wrapped around her neck, cheeks warm from the cold. When she saw Lily, and then Adrian behind her, her expression softened with genuine surprise. "You came," she said, her voice calm but touched. "I did," Adrian replied. Lily insisted. Lily shook her head with a giggle. "He wanted to." Emma looked at Adrian again, and for a moment he felt seen in a way he had not in years. Not as a CEO, not as a widower, but as a father making an effort. Inside the classroom, Emma guided Lily to place the invitations on each student's desk. Adrian watched the two of them working together, the way Emma gently corrected Lily's spacing, the way Lily leaned into her warmth, the way the classroom, though cluttered with crafts, tiny desks, and holiday decorations, felt more alive than his. Entire penthouse. Emma turned to Adrian. Thank you for coming. These moments matter to her. More than you may realize. He exhaled slowly. I know I have not been present, but I am trying. Emma nodded, her eyes warm. Trying is enough. Lily just needs to see you show up. They stepped aside to make room for students entering the room, and as they stood near the doorway, the school's hallway lights glowed softly above them. Emma adjusted the box in her arms and whispered, You know, she draws you all the time. You and her. Little moments she wishes she could have. Adrian felt something twist gently inside him. I did not know that. Emma gave a small smile. She is a quiet child. But quiet children often feel the deepest. Lily ran back toward them, proudly carrying a new drawing she had made during art time. This one showed the three of them again, this time sitting near a fireplace with stockings hanging above them. The drawing was simple, but the meaning pressed into Adrian's chest like a warm weight. As they walked out of the school together, snow began to fall, catching in Lily's hair and drifting across Emma's coat. Adrian watched them both, one small hand tucked into Emma's glove as they crossed the courtyard. The scene stirred something inside him that felt almost like a forgotten memory. Emma turned back toward him. Lily asked me if you would come to the Christmas night performance. I told her she should ask you herself. Lily looked up. Dad, will you? The answer rose easily this time without fear or hesitation. Yes, Adrian said. I will be there. Lily threw her arms around his waist, and Emma's smile grew quietly bright. For the first time in many years, Adrian felt the cold of winter shift just slightly toward warmth. The evening before the school's Christmas night arrived with a hush that settled over the city. Snow drifted steadily outside the penthouse windows, layering the streets in soft white. Inside, the lights were dim except for the warm glow coming from the living room where Lily worked on one last holiday craft. Adrian sat nearby, pretending to read emails, but really watching his daughter as she concentrated, her tongue pressed against her lip the way she always did when she focused. Emma was due to arrive soon for Lily's final tutoring session before the break, and Adrian found himself glancing at the clock more often than he meant to. It had been years since anyone's presence made his home feel less hollow, and the awareness unsettled him in a gentle yet undeniable way. When the doorbell chimed, Lily jumped up eagerly. She is here, Adrian followed her to the door. When he opened it, a swirl of snow drifted in, and Emma stepped inside, brushing flakes from her red scarf. Her cheeks were cold from the wind, but her smile carried the warmth of someone who knew how to brighten a room simply by entering it. Good evening, she said softly. Good evening, Emma, Adrian replied, surprised by how natural the words felt now. Lily tugged Emma toward the living room. We have to show you what I made for tomorrow's performance. Emma leaned over the table, studying the craft with genuine interest. Lily, this is beautiful. You put so much heart into it. Lily beamed. I want Dad to see it on stage. Emma glanced toward Adrian, her expression gentle and encouraging, as if reminding him that his presence tomorrow would shape a memory Lily would carry for years. As the tutoring session continued, Adrian stayed nearby, listening to their laughter and easy conversation. Emma's voice carried a calm steadiness that softened the sharp edges of the penthouse. She moved through the space as if she had always belonged there, guiding Lily through reading exercises, praising her efforts, and asking thoughtful questions that made the little girl glow with pride. At one point, Lily excused herself to retrieve something from her room. Emma sighed softly, taking a seat at the edge of the couch. Adrian sat across from her, noticing how the falling snow outside created a quiet halo around her silhouette. She is doing better, Emma said gently. Her confidence is growing. Adrian nodded. That is because of you. Emma shook her head modestly. It is because you are showing up. Children feel it when their parents try, even in small ways. Her words pressed softly into him. I want to do better, he admitted. I want her to feel safe with me again. You are on the right path, Emma said. Healing is not a single moment. It is a collection of small choices. Before Adrian could respond, Lily came running back, holding a framed drawing. She climbed onto the couch beside Emma and held it out proudly. This is us, she said. For tomorrow. In the drawing, the three of them stood beneath a string of Christmas lights, smiling. Emma's scarf was bright red. Adrian's hand rested protectively on Lily's shoulder. It was simple, childlike, and heartbreakingly sincere. Emma's breath caught softly. "Lily, this is lovely." Adrian felt something shift inside him once again, an ache but a warm one, the kind that came from wanting something he had not allowed himself to want in a very long time. Lily placed the drawing in Emma's lap and whispered, "I hope tomorrow is perfect." Emma rested a hand on Lily's back. "It will be. Because you will be brave on that stage and your dad will be there cheering for you." Adrian swallowed slowly. "I will not let you down," he said. Lily smiled, satisfied, and ran off again. Emma looked at him then, not as a tutor, not as an employee, but as a man trying to rebuild a home from the inside out. Her voice softened to a whisper. "You are doing more than you think." Outside, the snow kept falling, but inside the penthouse, something warmer, something long, dormant, continued to unfold between them. The morning of the Christmas night performance arrived with a quiet excitement that shimmered through the Hale household. Lily woke before the alarm, already humming the melody she would sing on stage. She moved around the kitchen with a joy that Adrian had not seen in years, clutching the scarf Emma had helped her knit as part of her costume. The penthouse felt brighter than usual, as if Lily's anticipation had chased away the shadows that usually settled into the corners. Adrian stood by the counter with a cup of coffee, watching his daughter twirl around the room. It struck him how much he had missed in the months after losing his wife. Lily had grown quieter, more cautious. But now, as she practiced her lines with a grin, she looked like a child who finally felt safe again. "Dad," Lily said, suddenly tugging his sleeve. "Emma will be at school early, right?" "Yes," Adrian replied. "She said she would help the students set up backstage." Lily nodded proudly, as if that detail alone made the day perfect. A few hours later, when Adrian and Lily arrived at the school, the hallways were already buzzing with activity. Students in holiday costumes ran back and forth, holding props, adjusting hats, and practicing lines under their breath. Teachers called out instructions over the cheerful chaos. Emma stood near the stage, kneeling beside a group of children, as she tied ribbons and straightened collars. Her red scarf stood out against the soft glow of the auditorium lights. When she spotted Lily, she rose with a gentle smile. "There you are," she said warmly. "Are you ready for your big moment?" Lily nodded so enthusiastically that her hair bounced. Adrian stepped closer. "Is there anything I can help with?" Emma looked up at him, surprised and touched. "Actually, yes. If you could help carry these props backstage, it would be a great help." He followed her through the curtains, carrying boxes of decorations, while she guided students into their positions. The backstage area was cluttered, energizing, full of movement. Adrian felt oddly out of place at first, but the more he watched Emma work calm, organized, patient, the more he understood why Lily adored her. At one moment, Emma paused beside him, lowering her voice. "Thank you for being here. She has been talking about this performance every day." "So have I," he admitted without meaning to. Emma's eyes flickered with a soft emotion, the kind that made Adrian feel as if something inside him was shifting yet again. When the performance began, Adrian took his seat in the front row. The lights dimmed, the room quieted, then the curtains opened, revealing rows of children holding candles made of golden paper. Lily stood in the center, her small hands wrapped around the candle she had crafted. Her eyes scanned the audience until she found her father. When she did, her face brightened instantly. Emma stood at the side of the stage, watching with pride. The children began to sing. Their voices rose in a gentle chorus that filled the gymnasium with warmth. Adrian felt something stir deep within him as he watched Lily perform without fear. She stood tall, confident, glowing in the soft lights. When the show ended and the audience applauded, Lily ran straight into her father's arms. He lifted her effortlessly, laughing for the first time in what felt like a lifetime. "You were perfect," he whispered. Emma approached, cheeks flushed with happiness. She really was. Lily squeezed both their hands, pulling them closer together as if they were the two halves of the world she wanted for herself. For a fleeting moment, as the lights from the stage shimmered across Emma's scarf and Lily's bright smile, Adrian realized that this simple, fragile, beautiful moment was something he had not allowed himself to feel since the day everything in his life fell apart. Warmth. Not from wealth, not from lights, not from a decorated penthouse, but from two people who had brought life back to a place he believed permanently frozen. He did not know it yet, but this performance was only the beginning of the night that would change everything for him. The Hale family left the school later than most, lingering in the warm glow of admiration from teachers and parents who stopped to compliment Lily on her performance. Snow drifted gently across the parking lot, settling on Lily's hair as she skipped ahead, humming the melody she had just sung. Adrian and Emma followed behind her at a slower pace, moving through the quiet chill of the winter evening. For the first time in years, Adrian did not feel the weight of the season pressing down on him. Instead, there was a fragile sense of peace, a calm he had forgotten existed. He glanced at Emma, who walked with her hands tucked into her coat pockets, her scarf bright against the fading light. "You were incredible with the children tonight," he said softly. "They clearly adore you." Emma smiled. "They make it easy. Children feel joy deeply. And sorrow, too." She looked toward Lily. "That is why nights like this matter." Adrian nodded, absorbing her words. Lily was different tonight. Stronger. "That is because she saw you," Emma said gently. "She saw you cheering for her, not from a distance but up close." Her voice carried no accusation, only warmth. Adrian felt his throat tighten. He wanted to thank her, to say something meaningful, but Lily turned back at that moment, waving her mittened hands. "Dad, Emma, look at the snow angels." She dropped onto the clean layer of snow near the car and began waving her arms and legs joyfully. Adrian let out a soft laugh and walked over, kneeling beside her. "You are going to freeze," he warned, but his voice was full of affection. "I am warm," Lily said confidently. "Look, Emma, make one with me." Emma hesitated, then laughed and dropped into the snow on the other side of Lily. The sight of the two of them, one small and one grown, both moving their arms in perfect synchrony, made something inside Adrian soften in a way he could not describe. He watched them for a moment before finally lying down beside them, creating a third snow angel. All three looked up at the sky, flakes drifting down in slow, peaceful patterns. "This is the best Christmas ever," Lily whispered. Emma smiled. "It is not even Christmas Day yet. But it feels like it," Lily said. Adrian turned his head slightly, watching Emma as she gazed upward, her breath forming soft clouds in the cold air. In the glow of the street lamp, her expression was serene, healing, almost. He wondered how many winters she had faced alone, how many burdens she had carried quietly while caring for children who were not her own. When they returned to the penthouse, Emma helped Lily hang her costume and pack away her props. Adrian stood in the doorway, watching the two of them with a swirl of emotions he had not expected to feel. The living room lights reflected softly off the ornaments Emma had encouraged Lily to hang the week before, creating a gentle warmth that seeped through the room. "Emma," he said as Lily stepped away to put her shoes in the closet. She looked up. "Yes, I wanted to thank you. For tonight. For everything. You have done more for my daughter than I ever realized." Her expression softened. "You give her more than you know, Adrian. She just needed to see that her father is still here." He stepped a little closer. "I want to be." Truly. There was a quiet pause between them, filled with a depth neither of them spoke aloud. It was not romantic tension. Not yet. It was something gentler. A recognition. A shared moment of two people who knew what loss felt like, and who in different ways were trying to build warmth again. Lily returned at that moment, clutching the framed drawing she had given Emma earlier. "Can I show Emma the tree before she leaves?" she asked. Adrian smiled. "Of course." They walked together toward the living room where the tree stood, now fully decorated, glowing with soft white lights. Emma paused when she saw it, her eyes widening slightly. "You finished it," she whispered. "Lily did most of it," Adrian said. Emma stepped closer, admiring the ornaments. "It feels alive now." Adrian looked at her, then at Lily, standing proudly between them. And he realized she was right. For the first time since losing his wife, his home felt like it belonged to a family again. Neither of them knew that this gentle warmth, this slow healing, would soon be threatened by a misunderstanding sharp enough to reopen the wounds Adrian thought he had finally begun to close. The next few days moved quietly, almost tenderly, as if the world itself understood that the Hale household had begun to thaw. Adrian found himself rearranging his schedule without thinking, making time for breakfast, with Lily walking her to school when he could and checking in on her reading assignments in the evenings. It surprised him how natural it felt, how much lighter his chest became each time he saw her smile. Emma continued to visit, always bringing her gentle warmth with her, guiding Lily with patience and the steady confidence of someone who understood how fragile children's hearts could be. But healing never moves in a straight line. Sometimes, without warning, old wounds flare. It happened late one afternoon when Adrian returned home earlier than usual. He walked into the hallway just as Emma was finishing Lily's lesson. Laughter floated from the study room, the kind that only comes from two people who have grown deeply comfortable with one another. Adrian paused, listening. It warmed him at first. Then he heard something else, a quiet conversation between Emma and a woman standing just outside the door. "Emma, you cannot keep doing this," the woman said. Her voice was tired but full of concern. "You are working 3 jobs this month. You are going to burn yourself out." "I am fine, Grace," Emma replied softly. "Lily needs consistency, and I want to help where I can." "You help everyone," Grace muttered. "But who helps you? You barely make enough to cover your bills. You should not feel responsible for fixing other people's lives." Emma sighed. "I do not see it that way." But the words hung in the air. Fixing other people's lives. Adrian stiffened. The phrase landed heavier than it should have. He knew Grace was not talking about him specifically, but it struck at a fear he had not faced fully. He heard the quiet strain in Emma's voice. He heard the exhaustion she tried to hide, and suddenly, a thought slid in like a shard of cold glass. Was she doing this out of genuine care? Or was she simply trying to help another family, the way she helped so many out of obligation, out of burden, out of the need to ease her own struggles? He stepped back before they could see him, the warmth that had been growing inside him flickering uncertainly. A moment later, Emma and Lily came down the hallway. Lily ran toward her father, immediately throwing her arms around him. "Dad," Emma says, "I read better today." Adrian hugged her, but his eyes drifted to Emma's. She offered him a warm smile, unaware of the echoing conversation he had overheard. Her red scarf was loosely wrapped around her neck, and her cheeks were still a little flushed from laughing with Lily earlier. "I will be back tomorrow for our last session before the holiday break," she said. "Lily has made so much progress." "Thank you," Adrian replied, but the words came out more distant than he intended. Emma paused. She noticed the shift. Her eyes softened with quiet confusion. "Is everything all right?" He looked away. "I just have a lot on my mind." Emma nodded, though her expression dimmed slightly. The next day, the distance only grew. Adrian entered the study room halfway through the lesson, offering a tight smile instead of a warm greeting. Emma sensed it immediately. She tried to lighten the room with gentle praise for Lily, but Adrian remained withdrawn, watching too closely, searching for something he could not name. As the session ended, Lily hugged Emma goodbye. Emma held her tightly, then straightened and approached Adrian with a quiet resolve. "Mr. Hale," she began softly, "I feel like something has changed. If I have done something to upset you, I would like to understand." Her tone was sincere, steady, vulnerable in the way only honest people allow themselves to be. Adrian hesitated, then said the words he should have kept buried. "I do not want my daughter to become a project for someone looking for a way to fix their own life." Emma went still. The hurt was immediate, sharp, and unhidden. She took a small breath, as if steadying herself before the snowstorm of disappointment could swallow her. "I have never seen your daughter as a project," she said, her voice trembling but controlled. "She is a child who deserves love and attention. That is all." Adrian opened his mouth, but no explanation he could offer would undo the damage. Emma gently pulled her scarf tighter. "If you believe I am helping her, for the wrong reasons, then perhaps it is best if I step back." Lily rushed forward, confusion rising in her eyes. "Emma, are you leaving?" Emma knelt down, brushing a hand through Lily's hair. "I will always care about you. That will not change." But Lily felt it, the shift, the loss. Tears welled in her eyes. Emma rose slowly, her expression composed but devastated. "Goodbye, Mr. Hale," she said quietly. As she walked toward the door, Adrian's penthouse, once warmed by her presence, began to feel cold again. The echo of the door closing behind her left a silence heavier than any he had carried before. And for the first time since his wife's passing, Adrian felt the unmistakable ache of losing something he had not yet dared to name. The winter days that followed were quieter than any Adrian had known in years. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the heavy kind, the kind that settles into the corners of a house when something warm has been taken from it. Lily moved through the penthouse with subdued steps, clutching the red scarf Emma had left behind as if it were a lifeline. She asked fewer questions now, laughed less, and stared longer at the door as if hoping it would open again. Adrian noticed everything. Every silence, every dimming spark, every sign that the warmth Emma had brought was now missing. And every sign that it was his fault. He tried to distract himself with work, but the numbers swam in front of him. Meetings felt meaningless. His office, once a refuge, now felt suffocating. Everywhere he looked, memories surfaced. Emma helping Lily hang ornaments. Emma kneeling to tie Lily's shoelaces. Emma smiling softly beneath the glow of the Christmas tree. He had not realized how much her presence had changed the rhythm of their days until it was gone. One evening, while sorting through emails, Adrian found a notification from the school. It was a simple message thanking all volunteers for their participation in the Christmas night performance. Attached was a photo taken backstage. He clicked it. The image showed Emma standing beside Lily, both holding their handmade candles. Lily looked radiant with excitement. Emma looked proud, warm, steady. And standing behind them was Adrian himself, smiling at something out of frame, unaware that a moment like this would soon matter more than anything. Adrian leaned back the breath, leaving his lungs in a slow, aching exhale. It hit him then, not the cold realization of his error, but the truth he had been avoiding. Emma had never treated Lily as a project. She had treated her as a child who deserved gentleness, guidance, and joy. And he had accused her of the one thing she had never done. His mistake had not just pushed Emma away, it had taken from Lily the first source of emotional safety she had felt in years. Later that night, Adrian walked past Lily's room and found her sitting on the floor with her art supplies scattered around her. She was trying to draw another picture, but the lines were shaky. Her small hands trembled as she placed tiny silver stars across the page. "Sweetheart," Adrian said gently, kneeling beside her. "What are you making?" "A Christmas card," Lily whispered. "For Emma. But I cannot give it to her. She left because of me." Adrian felt his heart crack. "No," he said firmly. "Emma did not leave because of you." "Then why?" Lily asked, eyes glistening. "Because of me," he thought. "Because I said something I should never have said. Because I let fear speak louder than honesty." But he could not place that weight on her. Instead, he pulled her into his arms. "Emma cared about you. Very much. And she would never leave because of anything you did." Lily buried her face in his chest. "I miss her." "I know," Adrian whispered, holding her tightly. "I miss her too." That night, after Lily finally fell asleep, Adrian stood alone in the living room. The Christmas tree glowed softly, casting small reflections across the windows. The room felt warm, but he felt cold inside, colder than he had in years. He walked toward the tree and picked up the framed drawing. Lily had made the one, showing the three of them standing beneath strings of Christmas lights. He traced the lines with his thumb. He could not leave things this way. He would not. The next morning, Adrian went to the school, but the classroom was empty. The principal informed him that Emma had taken early leave for the holiday break. She had not said where she was going. She had simply asked that someone cover her volunteer duties for the children. Adrian thanked them and left the school, stepping into the biting winter air. Snowflakes landed on his coat, melting instantly, the cold biting through fabric and skin. He realized then that healing was not a passive thing. It was not something that came without intention, without effort, without humility. If he wanted to repair what he had broken, he would need to take action. Not in the boardroom way he was used to, but in a human way, a way that required courage, not control. And so Adrian made a decision, a quiet, steady decision that filled him with both fear and determination. He would find Emma. He would make this right. Not for appearances, not out of guilt, but because she had become the warmth he had believed he would never feel again. And because Lily's Christmas, his Christmas, had already begun to grow cold without her. The snow had begun to fall again on the morning. Adrian finally found the courage to leave the penthouse with a plan. Not a business plan, not a strategy or a negotiation outline, but something far more fragile. He carried Lily's drawing in his coat pocket, the paper soft from being held so many times. Every time his fingers brushed the edge of it, his resolve deepened. Emma had not gone far. He learned from the school directory that she sometimes volunteered at a community center on the east side of the city, a small place funded by donations, decorated with handmade posters and warm smiles instead of polished marble. It was the kind of place Emma would choose, a place where kindness mattered more than wealth. When Adrian stepped inside, warmth greeted him instantly. Children ran around, stringing paper snowflakes across the ceiling, their laughter filling the air. And in the center of the room, as if placed there by fate itself, Emma stood on a step stool, reaching up to hang a strand of lights that flickered with soft gold. She did not see him at first. Her focus was gentle and full, her expression calm. He realized then that she had continued creating warmth even after walking away from his. A small child tugged her sleeve and she stepped down, kneeling to fix the ribbon on the girl's costume. The tender way she worked, steady, patient, full of sincerity, pulled at something deep in Adrian's chest. The urge to protect that softness. The urge to deserve it. Emma finally turned and saw him. For a moment her breath caught. Her eyes widened slightly, surprise flashing across her face, before she lowered her gaze, guarding her heart. "Mr. Hale," she said quietly, "I did not expect to see you here." Adrian took a slow breath. "Emma, I came to apologize." She folded her hands, steady but cautious. "There is no need. You were upset." "No," he said immediately, the word firm. "You do not understand, and that is my fault." She looked up then, and he continued before doubt could silence him. "I overheard part of your conversation with Grace the other day. I did not hear it in context. I did not give you the chance to explain. Instead, I presumed something about your intentions that could not have been farther from the truth." His voice tightened. "I should never have said what I said. I hurt you, and I hurt my daughter by pushing away the one person who made her feel safe again." A quiet stillness settled between them. Emma's eyes softened, but she did not speak. Adrian reached into his coat and pulled out the drawing. Lily had made the one they had created before the performance, the one showing the three of them standing under strings of lights. "Lily made this for you," he said. "She wanted to give it to you before the holiday break, but she thought you left because of her." Emma's breath trembled. "Oh, no," she whispered. "Never because of her." Adrian stepped closer. "She misses you. Terribly." He paused, his tone shifting. "And I do too." Emma pressed a hand against her chest, trying to steady herself. "Adrian, I cared about your daughter. That was always my only intention." "I know," he said. "I know that now. And I am asking if we can try again. For Lily's sake?" And maybe he paused, choosing his words carefully for mine. A child called Emma's name, interrupting the moment. She turned briefly, reassured the child, then faced Adrian again, the conflict clear in her eyes. She had been hurt, but she had not closed the door. "Adrian," she said softly, "healing takes time. For all of us." "I am willing to give it time," he replied. A small voice suddenly echoed through the room. Emma Lily ran toward them from the entrance, bundled in her coat, cheeks pink from the cold. She must have followed her father, determined to see Emma again. Before Emma could react, Lily threw her arms around her waist, holding on with a fierce little grip. "I missed you so much," Lily said into her scarf. Emma hugged her back, tears gathering silently. "I missed you too." Adrian watched them, emotion tightening his chest. Lily pulled back and slipped her hand into Emma's. "Come to our Christmas," she said. "Please." Emma looked from Lily to Adrian. He did not speak. He simply gave a quiet, honest nod, the kind that asked, not assumed. Slowly, Emma smiled. It was soft, fragile, but warm enough to thaw the last pieces of winter between them. "I would like that," she whispered. The children around them plugged in the last string of lights, and the whole room glowed softly, gold, gentle, full of hope. Emma stood beside Adrian and Lily, the three of them framed beneath the shining bulbs, just like Lily's drawing. A new beginning. A warmer winter. A Christmas no longer cold. Healing had found its way home.